Hello guys, I'm Dina. This is Creative Minds Homeschool. Welcome back to my channel. It's been a long time since I've posted anything here. And I just wanted to give y'all like a proof of life check. We are still alive. We are still homeschooling. I'm gonna try to make this as brief as I possibly can. I'm gonna tell you about homeschool. I'm gonna tell you about my health, tell you about my new hobby that I have going. All right, so homeschool real quick. We just are finishing up 9th grade, 7th grade times 2 because we have twins, and 1st grade for our little one. We have a son, it's 15, twins that are 12, and a 7-year-old. So I would say the challenges of our homeschool year were, the first one was we switched from teacher-led history and science to, I put that on the big kids. I gave them apology of science and not grass history and said, you're going to be responsible for this subject, and pretty much tested them to see where they were with that. Yeah, that had some challenges. They had to really learn how to follow a schedule, how to manage their time. Some of them were great at it. Some of them, one of them has a lot of history and science, I think, left, and all the other subjects as well. So we have one that's going to be doing a little bit of summer schooling, which, you know, you play on one end, you have to get the work done on at some point. So we have some challenges going on in that area. So that was one thing that was challenging. Another thing challenging is, I think the ages and stages of my children. I have the 3 big ones. Well, the oldest, he's kind of estrogened out. He's the big ones the big girls have been, you know, probably hormonal, which causes a lot of testiness. And you know, if you've raised a teenage or close to teenage preteen girl, it's special, and it has been special a lot this year. We have one who used to be the happy sunshine of the family, has become the contentious, discontent, hard to please, all those things, which we love her. She's still wonderful. I know that happy sunshine is in there somewhere, that helpful person that used to be here. She's coming back, but she's been on a vacation this year. And with that came, we have the little one who's super, super, super feisty. If you've heard of a spirited child or a strong-willed child, we have a what's the rule? Because I'm gonna break it. No boundaries going on there. So that has been super challenging. So there's been a lot of sibling rivalry and contention and just quarreling because the little one goes in their bedrooms and digs in their stuff, and then they retaliate by aggravating her and taunting her, and it just, and I mean, I don't know how y'all deal with that stuff. I would love for you to tell me, how do you deal with that at your house? Because if you have a solution to that, please give me all the answers, because I have none. And my answer to that is pretty much, we take privileges away. You don't get to have sweets. If sweet people get sweets at our house, and if you're not sweet, that's the first thing that goes. And my children love sweets. We all love sweets too much here. So, you know, but you do the crime, then you have the consequences to follow. But giving consequences does not make heart changes. Heart changes come from, I believe, from the Lord. I don't think we can change on our own. I think that we can do the best we can, but our best is never going to be good enough. And when you live in a house of 6 people, you're going to get on each other's nerves. We're in close proximity to each other 24/7. There's going to be rivalry here unless we banish it. And I can't control anyone's behavior but mine. So, you know, we try to manage the behaviors that go on, but it's just a constant challenge. So that's been challenging. And for the little one, she's kind of a grudge holder. So once she's mad, once they've put her in a special place where she's just angry at the world, that's usually what I'm walking into for school. Like, okay, time to do school. And she's mad at the world because they've gotten on her nerves during breakfast time. And it just makes a special situation. It's like homeschooling the Hulk. for lack of better terminology. So I've earned my gray hairs this year. But that's how homeschool has gone. For next year, we're changing things up. We're going to be joining an academic co-op. Mainly, part of what made me want to join this co-op, it's a classical co-op, kind of similar to Classical Conversations, only maybe more laid back, I guess. I don't know. We've never done classical education. We've never done a true academic co-op. This is going to be like a weekly thing. But I did this because I felt like they all could use some solid friendships, just people they see regularly. We have church friends, and we have neighborhood friends, but just to me, I felt like another good group of kids that's a weekly connection would be a great thing. Also, they do all the science experiments, like the gross dissections this is the note taker girl. I don't want any part of that. So you're going to go do that over there. I'm so happy to turn that over to other people. So, yeah, I just felt like on multiple levels, this would be beneficial for all parties involved, and I hope it will be. I think at this point in life, the last time we were in a co-op, a true co-op, it was a twice monthly, and I had a newborn, and I was in the middle of a postpartum funk, and it was special with huge, gigantic quotes around it. And I pretty much was like, I can't get my children to get in a vehicle to go somewhere, so we're not going to do this anymore. And here we are, back at it. But I'm hoping now that we're older, we can actually get up. We understand what it means to have to be somewhere on a certain time. We're a little bit better at that, depending on the day. But it's what it's going to be. So that will change up. From in years past, we've been year-round homeschoolers. We're kind of going to be changing that up because we're going to be on co-op schedule and not our own. So we will have some adjustments and some hurdles to get through on this next year with that. But we'll see how it works out. That's the plan. We're going to be joining a co-op. That's going to change some of our curriculum. And once we get into that, I'll come on here and give you another update about it. But anyway, that's homeschool. It's been a challenging, special kind of year, but we've made it almost all the way through. Next, I'll tell you about my health. Part of what made this homeschool year challenging was back in October, I started having major heart palpitations. I had an episode where I passed out from, I had a sickness going on, ended up passing out and went to the ER, went to the cardiologist, went to my regular doctor, all the things. Basically, he diagnosed me with anxiety. So, but I have a low heart rate, so I'm not eligible for anxiety medication, which I don't think I would have taken anyway because I'm just not good at self-care and not good at taking anything on a regular basis. So, but it was kind of I'm on the buck up little bear method, which is learn to cope with the stress in your life. So that's special. So yeah, I've had to learn how to take deep breaths and get a grip when I'm like, I'm about to lose my mind up in here. I've had a lot of those moments this year, and it's been challenging. The other side of that. So, okay, back up. In January last year, I started a weight loss journey. I'd gotten, I don't know if you remember my last weight loss journey. That was back in 2019, I think. I had gotten down like 3 pounds within my goal, and I gave up. I got tired of starving, got tired of, I was on Weight Watchers, but I just got tired of watching everyone eat good food that I wanted to eat and couldn't eat because it was too many calories. I gave up. Well, then COVID hit, and we had hurricane stuff that made lots and lots of stress. It was stressful for a good long while around here. So I passed up where I had been when I started Weight Watchers and gained 15 more pounds on top of that. So I have been trying to lose that 30 pounds for the last year and a half now. And I was 6 pounds within goal in October when all of this crazy health stuff started. And I was doing better. I was like learning to watch how much I was moving, because doing homeschool, I basically concluded I'm a stress eater. We've established that. But so I was stress eating and then hardly moving at all during the day. Like, I have a step counting watch, and I was getting maybe 1,400 steps a day. So now I'm getting between 5,000 and 8,000 steps a day on purpose, because, but back in October, I was doing more. There were a lot of days where I was hitting 10,000 steps, and I was working out like weight lifting or doing like, I don't like the walk at home people. There's a few of them I've done that I really like. I think it's Glow with Joe or Grow with Joe, one of those. I can't remember. I think it's Grow with Joe. And Fit by Mick is another one that I really like, doing their workouts and stuff. But back when I started having the heart palpitation things, it really did not feel good to be walking, like purposefully walking or lifting weights and feeling like I'm about to have my heart stop, or just it's going nuts. So it kind of deterred me from doing the workouts, and I've gotten off that wagon. It's been a struggle bus to try to get back on it. I have been at least still moving. Today I've not done great, but in general, I try to get between 5,000 and 8,000 steps now. My love affair with ice cream is pretty much hindering myself at this point. Which I eat out of measuring cups. I mean, it's not like I'm totally killing it, but I think my metabolism is just shot. So I'm learning to try to manage stress and breathe deeper. I have to recognize when there's tension in our home. I really am a firm believer that if you're not sending your children to the devil's playground, he is happy to come and set up shop and wreck the relationships and the peace right here at home. So it's a challenge to be on top of that situation, because there are 6 of us. It's not like I'm in control of anything, because there's 6 different people at any given time. That little popcorn that's going to not do right, they're letting that in. We can just only do our best to not succumb to our own flesh on those days when it's just people who are determined not to get along or determined not to cooperate. It's challenging. So yeah, I'm having to learn to manage all that. And the last time I tell you about the hobby I've picked up through all this, back in probably, I think it was October. Sorry. Back in October, I started reading. I've always been a Christian fiction reader for years. I was. Well, then I started reading. I love the old show, Heart to Heart. Love, love, love it. If y'all don't know what it is, I'm so sorry. You need to go check out that show. If you love romance, I love that show, which is basically, it's a show from like the early 80s. And what I loved about it was, I didn't grow up in a family with a husband and a wife at home. I just didn't. I had a broken home. So to me, they were like the ideal couple, because they were a couple who were married and who loved each other, and they were all about each other. And then they're like, all their friends are always getting murdered and they have to figure out what happened. So I love that show. Well, but somewhere in there, I started reading Heart to Heart fan fiction, which I loved because it's my favorite couple, and it would put them like meeting in different ways and doing different things. Like it's outside of the show, but it still reads like the show. Well, somewhere along in there, I discovered that, whoa, this is a lot different than reading Christian fiction, unfortunately. Because somewhere in there, I ran into what I guess you would call smut. And I was like, whoa, my eyeballs need some bleach. What in the world is going on? Whoa, the hearts. That's not what that show was all about. So, of course the Holy Spirit is like, for real? Like, that's not for you. I'm like, you're right. Not for me. Cause don't need to know all the details. So, you know, you have a battle between your flesh, what your flesh wants, and what your spirit, and the Holy Spirit is telling you that's not for you. So, but I had gotten where I really just loved reading, and I would skip the stuff that is TMI, you know, but the Holy Spirit's like, no. So I'm like, Lord, you know, I really need an alternative to this, because I hear you. You're saying no, loud and clear. I agree. I need an alternative. Well, about that time, there's this girl named Rachel from Closed Door Romance, I think is what her Instagram handle is. And she started, like, her stuff started popping up in my Instagram feed. And I'm like, this is interesting. So based on her recommendations, I started reading all these, it's closed door. It's romance, which I love, but it's not details that I don't need to know and don't want to know. So I've been on a little journey with that, like reading just happy, feel-good stories that, I don't know, just romance. I love it. So, yeah, it's been a fun hobby that I picked up. So much so, like, the people in my life really do not read books, like, besides my children. Like, they read them, but they don't. I want to talk about what I just read, like that. You know, it's so good. Like, I want to know who else read that. Like, So I started another Instagram account, and I'll put the handle on here, but it's just basically me gushing about the books that I've been reading and finding other people who like to talk about it just as much as I do. So yeah, that's kind of a new hobby I've picked up that it's keeping me out of what I know is not good and onto a more wholesome path. But yeah, that's kind of all what we've been doing, what we've been up to, and how the year has gone. And I apologize that I haven't been more diligent about getting on here. It's just been stressful, and something had to give, and this channel is kind of what suffered. And just the ages of my kids, it's just been more challenging to record as life happens. So I told y'all, it's kind of an update channel, and that's kind of what it's become. It's kind of like, take it for what it is. Well, and that's what we've been up to. I hope y'all enjoyed this little update. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up, and we're going to catch you in the next one. Bye. Thanks for watching.